New GOP opposition, where the stimulus package stands right now, and a timeline of your next stimulus check. Welcome back everyone to your stimulus check and stimulus package update for today, and in this video we have to discuss a few things. Number one, we have a very prominent GOP voice now speaking out against Biden's stimulus package. Also, where does the stimulus package stand right now? What is the status of it? And when can you expect your next stimulus check to come? So let's jump right into the news and get the ball rolling. Before we do, as always, drop a big thumbs up on this video if you have been enjoying my content and you appreciate the output. And if you'd like to see more content from my channel, the news is constantly changing 24/7 every single solitary day. Make sure you do hit that big red button, the subscribe button. Also click the notification bell as well. I post videos now every single solitary day with no exceptions and no excuses, so you're not going to miss a beat. The news is always changing, so make sure you are subscribed and notifications are turned on. Let's get started. So a top GOP senator, Senator Mitt Romney of Utah, is speaking out strongly against the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. He did not mince words in his opposition to this new bill. He called it every name in the book. This was during a New York Times Deal Book Policy Project conference on Tuesday evening. He had said, quote, "Not a lot is happening behind the scenes that involves Republicans," referring to the fact that Democrats are moving forward alone. He went on to say, "I think the Democratic leadership has determined that they want to push through the plan without any changes to it whatsoever and without the input from Republicans, and because it will be done through budget reconciliation, they don't need any of our votes." He went on to say, "I find it a very troublesome bill, not so much because of the price tag, which is pretty substantial, but because there's a lot of stuff in there that's just simply wasteful. I wish we could use the money in there that we're going to go out and borrow from China to actually do things that'll make a difference." In a Wall Street Journal op-ed that was also published on Tuesday, Romney called the bill, quote, "a clunker that is, in his view, quote, filled with bad policies and sloppy math." Senator Romney did point out specific areas of the bill where he thinks that there's some wasteful spending going on. He had said more particularly that the $350 billion in aid allocated in the bill to states currently experiencing budget surpluses could be put to better use. He said, quote, "Most of our states didn't have a bad couple of years. Most of our states are doing very well. 21 states actually had their revenues go up during COVID. California has record surplus, for instance, but it's slated to get $27 billion in borrowed money from the federal government." And other Republicans have expressed the same criticism and concern that this is a progressive bailout bill and this money is going to states that don't need it. Many Republicans feel the exact same way. They are vehemently against the passage of this bill. Not one Republican actually supports this legislation. And so Democrats are going forward with the reconciliation process, and it really doesn't even matter at this point what senators like Mitt Romney are even saying. The debate and discussion is essentially over until the bill makes it to the Senate, because right now the bill has actually passed the House Budget Committee. That's right, let's take a look at where the package stands right now. So the House Budget Committee voted on Monday to advance President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion relief bill. This sets up the legislation aimed at fighting the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic fallout to go to the House floor for a vote later this week. Now, of course, for any package to even become law, it has to pass both chambers of Congress, the House and the Senate. And that is why in the Senate, Democratic and Republican staffers will be sitting down as soon as Tuesday with parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough to hash out whether the $15 minimum wage is allowed under the budget reconciliation process, which would allow the package to pass with just 50 votes as opposed to 60 votes. McDonough's decision will ultimately determine the outcome of the next steps for Biden's stimulus package and whether a minimum wage increase is effectively included. The House Budget Committee vote on Monday was a slim margin of 19-16, with just one Democrat, though, Representative Lloyd Doggett of Texas, joining Republicans in voting against the relief package. However, Doggett's spokesman said in a statement the vote against the package was an accident and that Doggett, quote, supports the COVID-19 relief legislation. So that's quite a surprise. So Monday afternoon's advancement of the bill is the official step to then let the bill be passed in the full chamber for a full vote. The more than 590-page bill actually marks the first major piece of legislation to be advanced under the Biden administration, and it's the first opportunity for congressional Democrats to legislate with control of all three branches of the government. That means the House, the Senate, and of course the White House. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will have an even more narrow margin to pass the bill later this week because she is unable to lose more than 5 votes. Now, even though progressive and moderate Democrats may not agree on every single last provision in the stimulus package, they just don't have the nerve to hinder and impede the first major ask of the Biden administration. So they're going to be voting for the legislation regardless, even if they don't like everything that's inside of it. So the bill will pass the House almost definitely, but as I have reiterated several times, once you go to the Senate, it's going to have a lot tougher time. Senators Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona have made it clear that they are not comfortable voting for a coronavirus relief bill that would include an increase in the minimum wage to $15 an hour over the next 5 years. So far, the provision is in fact in the House bill as it stands right now, but it may not survive the budget process and the parliamentarians' review that requires every section of the bill to meet a strict set of rules. Lawmakers may learn as soon as Tuesday evening whether or not the provision is allowed under reconciliation, the process that of course allows Democrats to pass their bill, which is 51 votes. So you may not see the minimum wage increase survive once it reaches the Senate. This means that we would eventually secure the votes of Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema because it would not include the minimum wage hike. With their votes, the bill will be able to pass the Senate using the reconciliation process, and then it would become law. In addition, as we know, the legislation includes the $1,400 direct payments to qualifying Americans. It also includes increasing federal unemployment benefits to $400 per week, and it also would send money to state and local governments, provides funds to help schools reopen, and other aid programs. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had emphasized in a statement why the passage of this bill is so necessary. She had said we must act swiftly to put an end to this pandemic and to stem the suffering felt by so many millions. So as the bill does progress and hopefully passes both chambers of Congress, when can you expect your $1,400 stimulus check to arrive? Well, the goal of the Biden administration, as well as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, among many other Democratic lawmakers, is to pass the American Rescue Plan by March 14th, because that is the deadline in which unemployment benefits will expire. So if we were to piggyback off of that date specifically and use that as our framework, again, give or take, this could be a few days before, could even be a little bit later, depending on how fast Congress could work. But let's use that date as an example. So if you assume that President Biden is able to sign the relief package into law by March 14th, you could then say that direct deposits would likely start the week of March 22nd, and then finally checks would begin to arrive the week of March 29th. So we could in fact start to see the first stimulus checks go out at the end of March to early April. This is on track with what Wall Street and many political strategists and experts expect the stimulus package to pass and checks to start going out. We are on time, we are on track, so hopefully no further obstruction is ahead of us. Now, if you're feeling optimistic and even more wishful, well, is there a scenario in which case this bill could pass even sooner than that, which means that you would receive your stimulus checks even sooner? Well, the answer is yes. The House currently is set to pass the American Rescue Plan without any changes or amendments. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had recently reiterated her more aggressive timeline, stating that the bill could pass before the end of February. So in that case, the Senate could then pass it next week on a straight party line vote. If they do, the stimulus package could leave Congress by March 5th and be signed into law on March 8th, which means that direct deposits would start arriving in bank accounts by March 14th, and checks would start being mailed out on March 22nd. Now, either timeline could be extended for any number of reasons. There's always going to be delays. The biggest speed bump and ongoing disagreement is the $15 an hour minimum wage provision. That is truly going to set the stage for when we can expect the stimulus package to pass. So once we know whether or not that makes it into the bill, we'll have a much clearer picture of where the bill stands and how fast you could receive checks. The good news is that the $1,400 figure is set in stone, so as long as you are within the income thresholds and you don't go above the $75,000 for individuals or $150,000 for couples, then your checks will start to phase out from there. You will receive the full cash payment of $1,400 as well as your qualifying dependents. Whether or not the minimum wage increase ends up in the bill, we will definitely see those stimulus checks. We'll definitely see the increase in federal unemployment benefits, among the other measures in there and other allocated funding. I like to ask you guys about the $15 an hour minimum wage. Do you believe that it should be in the relief package, or should the Biden administration save that for a later time and let's just focus on getting direct relief to the Americans right now? Or do you think it should be in the bill and we can't move forward without having it in the bill? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I am curious to hear. So far, I approve of the new Congress's work. They're moving much more faster than when we had Mitch McConnell as the majority leader and his colleagues obstructing and blocking everything that they can. The Congress is moving much more fast on this bill, and I think you could see that. An infinite amount of news is to come as the Congress pushes and advances this bill. This is your one-stop shop for everything stimulus. You don't have to look anywhere else. All your news can be found right here. More developments will be coming soon. If you did enjoy this video, as always, smash that like button, give the video a big thumbs up, turn that like button blue. And if you'd like to see more content from my channel, you're not going to miss a beat. Make sure you do click that big red button, the subscribe button. Also have notifications turned on. Click that little notification bell as well. Ring it, ring it, ring it, ding it. And that will notify you when I do post a brand new video. And as always, if you'd like to get some free stocks, all in me, all free, use my links down below in the description. When you sign with Robinhood and or Webull, you'll get some free stocks, all valued up to sometimes thousands of dollars in some cases. So totally worth it, totally free, all on me. Use my links down below in the description. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.